Hello everyone and welcome to Zappy Productions, and today I will be having a first impression unboxing of the Brise Audio Tsuranagi headphone amplifier. Now this is a relatively expensive headphone amplifier, about 2,000-ish USD, and in Singapore it's about 3,000 plus Sing dollars. So if you have seen my other videos, I do own quite a bit of portable amplifiers, and they are quite good ones. You can see here this is the Enlem HPA 23RM, and then this is the Mesh Kobo. Now this one is originally loaned to me from Jaben, but since then I have purchased my own copy because it is really nice. I'll write a full review in the future, but for today we'll talk about the Brise Audio Tsuranagi. Now this is once again loaned to me from Jaben, and let's take a look at what's inside the box. Now this is, I believe, a display set, so well, some things are there, some things are not, but let's be excited a little bit, right? So inside the box, this is what you get. Instruction manuals. I did notice something about Japanese amplifiers. They tend to have some documentations. Well, I noticed also from Mesh Kobo there were documentations like talking about the amp design and some various parameters on here. Now you can read this one. So the Brise Audio Tsuranagi, unlike the Mesh Kobo actually, this Mesh Kobo here uses AA batteries, whilst Brise Audio here uses rechargeable batteries, so you can actually charge the internal battery to utilize it. I like how they actually even have a proper manual. I believe these are the cables to charge, we don't need it. And then inside here, you can see here, this is the card, the warranty card, which I'll put it back. And then this is the amp itself. Now this amp, as I said, is a display set, I believe, or a demo set. You can see that a lot of things are worn out. I can feel that, this is like printed on, or I don't know, drawn on or something. So things are wearing out. I mean, depends on whether you like it or not. It may be a character or maybe quite irritating to you. Now, similarly for the front panels, you can see the corners. Now this is a solid made aluminium, I believe it's aluminium. There's some serial number here too, and it is quite a small amplifier. Now if you actually put in the perspective of other high-end amplifiers, this is small. You can see it is shorter, thinner, and smaller than the Mesh Kobo I have here. So if you actually take out and weigh this, so I have a weighing machine here just to take a look at what's the weight of this amplifier itself. It weighs 357 grams. Now if you versus the Mesh Kobo here, this is 508 grams with batteries, and if you compare to the Enlem, the Enlem is 757 grams. So you can see that the weight of the Tsuranagi here is actually quite light. Now the specs of this, I believe, is up to 1 watt of power into 30 or 32 ohms. I'm not too sure the specifications. I will just stick it on the screen somewhere. And it supports both balance and unbalance. I believe this is internally, how it works is that it converts all the signals, unbalance or balance, to balance signals, process it and outputs it again. So you can see that this is a balance out, this is the 4.4 balance, and this is the 2.5 balance out. How this amp works is that you can select the input, be it in single-ended or balance, and then when you on it, you can see the light, and then it powers up, tells you how much charge it has left, and then you can see it's lighted up, and then it changes accordingly. Now, in terms of design of the front panel, this is quite a small front panel. I mean, there's nothing at the back here, there's only a charging slot. Now, the Mesh Kobo design of power switch, I pretty much like it a little bit better. It means the volume remains consistent. I on it and it gets on, off it turns off. The volume, I don't touch it. Now, for a lot of portable amps, they do this switch, which is on automatically, off. The good thing of this design is that you do not need to worry that, when you off it, when you turn it down, it just offs itself. Well, this one, you may actually forget to off it in certain situations, and you know that you turn all the way, it's off. It's quite intuitive. Enlem does the same thing. You can see that the Enlem here, on, then it powers up, and then, you turn the volume accordingly. So I think this is a personal preference, whether you like a power switch or not, but I prefer the power switch version because I don't like to change my volume, which is quite fixed for a certain headphone. Now, with that said, let's take a look around the amp. I think it's quite simple. It's an amp that's the size of my palm, well built, and then the front panel itself. Now, with that all said, most important part of the first impression is how does it sound like? Now, this does 1 watt of power, unlike the Mesh Kobo here that only does like 160 milliwatt of power. But trust me, 160 milliwatt is a lot of power, and you can actually even power the DCA stealth of it. And depending on who you ask, some people do prefer DCA stealth on this than other amps. I have tried a lot with my friends. It kind of may happen. This thing outputs, I think, 2.3 volts, and this thing outputs significantly more voltage. The Enlem is more comparable to this in terms of power, but the Enlem being a current amplifier is not a fair comparison, so today I'll just compare these two. Now, one of the more interesting things is that both of these are Japanese amplifiers, so that's something to note. So let's not waste time, let's compare, have my first impression, right? So I'll be using the M17 as a output, and then I'll be using Apple Music, which is lossless. Now, the song I usually hear to those that I always listen to, so I'll just keep it consistent, I'll be hearing songs from Edo, Yoasobi, Final Fantasy, and Wish from Mercury. I'll just listen to 4 songs. I'll just power it up. Okay, now this is no scientific test, and I don't intend to balance the volume and what's not with a measurement tool. I'll just try to balance it with my ears, which normally isn't that accurate. Based on personal tests, I've done a few experiments with others, and in fact, I actually did an experiment just now. I unboxed it, showed to my friends, and had her, try out and compare between the Tsuranagi and the Mesh Kobo. She did a comparison without looking at the devices. The results were interesting. Well, it's not a very comprehensive results, but I will tell you at the end. If you're interested, you can jump to the bookmark at the end. If not, carry on, see me, listen to both amps and tell you what's the difference, right? Now, I switched it to, of course, balance mode. This is balance in. I set my output here to balance output. And let's select a song. I usually like to listen to Edo's Ibarra because she has nice vocals, bass is there, and it's quite a powerful sound for the vocals itself. I really like that song. So let's hear it. Well, I listened to a part of Ibarra already. Let's switch over now. Okay, I had an initial impression. Let me try again here. Okay, so initial impression with Ibarra using the DCA stealth here is that on the Mesh Kobo itself, it feels like there is more body. And I feel that on the Tsuranagi, it feels a bit lighter. And when it comes to the bass itself, the Mesh Kobo also hits harder, more impactful, while this one is just tight and clean. Now, that is one impression on this song, Ibarra. Let's try another song now. Now, the next song I will use probably is Wish from Mercury. This is a soundtrack. I'll listen to the first 20-30 seconds and then let's see. I'll start with Mesh Kobo first. Okay. One more time. So initial impression is that this one, for this particular song, feels like slightly thicker, but it's not like thicker in terms of the mids that I talked about just now, more body here. This one feels like just thicker all around. It feels like there's some sort of loss in, I don't know, maybe not loss, maybe, yeah, there's something different about it. It's just thicker sounding, and this one just feels more right. This one just feels thick. That's initial impression. Now, that is Wish from Mercury. Let's try another song, One Wing Angel. For this song, let me start with the Tsuranagi. Okay, the initial part of this song is like I believe the drums or something hitting the song, and with trumpets and stuff. So I do like this. For the initial start, something to really test amplifiers out for some tonal difference, especially in the lower frequencies. There's definitely something different in the bass. It's like the bass here is thicker. The bass here is less thick. But other than the thickness, is also, I feel, the responsiveness and the overall sound. I feel like the Mesh Kobo just feels a bit more right, while the Tsuranagi feels a bit more, I don't know, thick and different, like the dampening, something to do with it. I just don't know how to explain, but you know, there's this small little difference. Let me hear one more time. Okay, one more time. Mesh Kobo feels like there's some slightly more details and texture in the bass, while this one feels more powerful. So in actual thickness is like more powerful, more in your face for the bass level. So actually that's the difference in this particular song here. Now let's go to the next song. Let's go to something with mainly soundstage. I'll start with the Mesh Kobo. Okay. I think soundstage is quite clear. The Mesh Kobo is definitely bigger. Now, if you've been wondering why am I moving my hand around, this is a way for me to visualize the size of the soundstage. So I will usually like imagine now, if I imagine sound had a end to the both sides, I will just put like the markers here. So I'll just shift the markers big and small based on how I feel about the soundstage and what I think is the limit. You know, just imagine like hitting a wall at the side here. So if you notice just now, the Tsuranagi, let me move this one. Tsuranagi is something like this, while the Mesh Kobo is something like this. It literally goes out of the frame a bit. That is the difference when it comes to soundstage between them. Well, one thing about the Tsuranagi is also it's a thicker sound, so the Mesh Kobo actually feels lighter and bigger. So if you like the thicker sound, go for the Tsuranagi. I did notice that the emblem is very similar to this. I'll try to compare it to emblem. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Now, the Tsuranagi, good thing is that you can actually use the 3.5 single-ended as a termination. So let me use one of my nice 3.5 cables and remove my 4.4 here. Okay, I need to do a bit of a hoop jumping. Give me a... Okay, now I'm back. I will off my Mesh Kobo here. Now, the thing about the emblem here, right? The emblem only uses a single-ended. So single-ended in, single-ended out. And this single-ended, you can go for current or voltage. For this comparison, I will go with the voltage port because that is the normal one. The current one may make this headphone sound different, so I don't want to compare it that way. Now, it's a bit more complicated because this amp here obviously is balanced output only, while this amp is single output only. So to make this possible, I have to do some adaptation. Now, adaptation, people may argue that it may drop sound quality, but I think the loss of sound quality is quite minimal, at least to me. Okay, so this is a converter to 6.35, 1/4, then this is converted to stereo. It's kind of stupid, but I need to do this. Okay, now we will try out the single-ended in for the Brise audio here, for the Tsuranagi. Let's try this out. Same thing, we will hear this particular tag, Suzume. So the initial size you can see here is marked. So it goes from this angle, this line here, all the way to somewhere beyond this. Let's compare with the other device. You can see the soundstage of the emblem, at least based on how I feel, you know, when listening. I close my eyes and imagining the size. It's bigger than a Tsuranagi, quite a bit. I mean, I remember just now the Tsuranagi is somewhere around here. It's a bit smaller. This is like almost out of the frame. So the soundstage is definitely... I also noticed that the Tsuranagi is truly a thicker sounding amp. This actually sounds a bit lighter, very similar to the Mesh Kobo that we had just now. But the Mesh Kobo is even lighter sounding. So this is thicker, less thick, less lighter. So sound difference in sound signature. I mean, all these are really high-end amplifiers. So let's try one more song. I will compare with the emblem again. Now I have a lot of playlists, but most of them are just repeats of different songs. Let's go for something more energetic. Unravel, no, Yusha. Okay, good. I got the initial feels of it. Okay, one more time. The emblem. Okay, the emblem does hit harder. The Tsuranagi feels is more not more powerful sounding. Yeah, maybe thicker, more powerful sounding may also be correct because it's a single-ended mode. Not only that, everything feels a little bit more crispier on the Tsuranagi compared to the emblem itself. Now, let's compare it to the Mesh Kobo for this particular song. Going back to my balance. Okay, let's go. Okay, so input from balance is always hotter because the output from here is just hotter. I believe this is up to 4 volts, and then the single ender is 2 volts. So always turn down the volume. Okay, I got a good feel of it. Now, definitely, if you are looking for like impact of bass, I think they are about the same, but this one seems to have slightly more bass energy, just slightly more. Let me hear one more time. Sorry. So, based on the comparison just now, I feel that the Mesh Kobo has less bass energy, but it has a better impact. While for the sound itself, I feel that the soundstage definitely is wider. I can feel like the pianos in the start of You Shall this song, the piano is like at the edge of my ears, while this one is like within my head a little bit. And then also, I think the Mesh Kobo just feels lighter in the sound itself, and this one feels thicker. So, at least based on my initial test, I think this is like the thickest sounding amp among all the amps I have. And it also has a slightly smaller soundstage. Maybe it's because it's like more focused for the thickness of sound. And bass energy seems to be the highest, but the impact itself, I think the impact is different. The Mesh Kobo here is like clean, while this is like high impact, like harder, it hits harder. But the energy overall in the bass feels more here. So anyway, this is my initial impression. I mean, this is not a full review, and I don't think it's a fair review also, because I did not like, do leveling of the volume on my DCA Stealth accordingly to all 3 amps, so definitely not the most accurate comparison. And well, it's a very initial look of this amp, and it's not even fully charged, so maybe when it's fully charged, I don't know whether the sound will be slightly different. This is definitely something that doesn't need burning. You can see that things are being worn off. It's definitely quite heavily used already as a demo set, but I do think that there is a place for this. I mean, the sound is thick and powerful. It feels a little bit like the emblem on current mode. Thick and powerful, but the emblem on current mode, it's a bit different, it's a bit more diffuse, and it's powerful yet very controlled. This one is powerful yet slightly less control. It just feels that there's just slight less control on this. Now, definitely I need to try more to actually get a good feel on it. Now, I have to say that one thing is that the volume knob here is darn smooth. I mean, I love the amount of friction here. The line of friction here, but this is really damn smooth. Now, the emblem itself, I still think this is smoother. This is like the smoothest knob. This is like the smoothest knob. This is like more smooth than even this guy. This guy is just loose, but this guy is just smooth with friction. This guy is good amount of friction, but that when you turn, there's this slight looseness in it. This one is just nice. Well, that's about it. Now, this amp, if I'm not wrong, is really quite expensive, and I think this is probably not for everyone, definitely. I mean, there is other good amps that cost a third of the price or even a sixth of the price. In fact, I want to try the Cayen's tube amp. I believe it's the C9, I believe. That's something that I will try also in the future. But no, for now, I think this amp is interesting. It's small, it's light, and well, the overall power, at least in specs, is very good. I mean, I need to try it out with the Abyss, maybe even with the CA1A to see whether does it have enough power to drive it to good volume. I mean, CA1A is known to take like 3-4 watt of power, and that is because if you're going really loud. But if you listen to normal volume, maybe 1 watt is enough. I need to try, right? There is, I don't know. I think the only complaint I have is this one should be either engraved or something, because this is definitely asking to be worn out, because you can feel, this is like pop out. You can just rub it enough, it come out. So this is something I worn out. And other than that, not much complaints of its inner. I do like that. In the interesting part is, I believe internally it's a true full balance amp. So you can swap between the different inputs, but the output is pure balance. So based on, I believe, the circuitry design, this is, you convert whatever to full balance, or if it's balanced, it will just be full balance, all the way balance out. And this is a current feedback amp. So maybe that's why the sound is thicker and sounds different. I need to do more tests. I mean, I tried with the DCA Stealth, which is a very good headphone, but I won't say the most exciting one. Maybe I tried something else to see whether this thickness do carry through. That's about it for today. This is the Tsuranagi from Brise Audio. This is a very initial impression. Once again, thanks to Jaben at, they helped me, with this, loan me this amplifier to try, so I can bring you an initial impression. Do visit them at Coleman Street at LDFE at level 1 near the drop-off area. Really, really nice amp, and I'm excited to do a proper review of it. I'll charge it the next time and then do a review, and I'll see you next time. Oh yes, just now I've forgotten. There was something I said just now, My friend tried this, the Tsuranagi versus the Mess Kobo. And you know what's the outcome? She did 5 songs and she chose between jazz, rap, pop, instrumental, and she had a score of 3 for Mess Kobo, 1 for Tsuranagi, and 1 for, I do not know which is the difference. What's the difference at all? I can't hear anything. Now, she did a semi-blind test where she's facing away from the amplifier, but definitely not totally blind. I mean, she closed her eyes to listen because she said that that's the only way to hear any difference at all. But out of 5 times, 3 is a Mess Kobo, 1 is a Tsuranagi, and 1 is I do not know. So there is a good chance that she feels the Mess Kobo is better for her type of music, It's not definitive because it's only 5 tries, but considering that 1 is a I do not know, means that she had a 3 preference for Mess Kobo and only 1 preference for Tsuranagi. So maybe that's the difference. And she said that the Mess Kobo just feels more clear, less muddy. She feels the Tsuranagi is a little bit muddy, but it may not be muddy. It may just be the thickness that I'm talking about just now. The slightly thicker sound and slightly smaller sound. Maybe that's the case. But she's a layman. She's a normal person that doesn't spend $2,000 on audio equipment. Her most expensive headphone is just the AirPod Max. So, yeah. So at least she feels that there is some difference and she has some preference. Now, whether is that a concrete score, something I will try and maybe come back to you guys on a very long-term test of whether can people tell the difference between an amp and do they even have a preference. That's why for today. Bye-bye.